All right, we're going to get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. 70% of managed services providers report that ransomware is the most common malware threat to SMBs. There has been a 33% increase of cybersecurity intrusions since March. All attacks accessed via an email through end users falling for phishing bait. With ransom attacks on the rise, more so now that organizations are adapting to a work from home strategy, Tritec and BMT decided to put together a 3-point security package. It's going to help with early intrusion detection, provide end user education, and most importantly, help protect your current network infrastructure and your mission critical data. We're going to be fielding the Q&A at the end of the session, so feel free to enter any questions you may have in our chat. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nancy Marie. Let's review what we'll be discussing today. First, I'll give you a short overview of BMT and myself. Then we'll look at the current cyber threat vectors threatening your business productivity and data. After that, we'll look at the 3 components of our CyberPoint protection package. And as Nancy said, finally end with some Q&A. BMT, we're an IT services company. We've been in business for 28 years. Recent recognitions include being listed on the CRN MSP 500 and Tech Elite 250 lists. We've been ranked number 2 in New Jersey for cybersecurity by NJBiz and the NJBiz readers. For a wide range of services, including managed IT, data and infrastructure services, IT support, cloud services, IT security, and IT advisory consulting. I've been with BMT for 26 years. I'm a former senior network engineer, and as the company's grown, so have my roles and responsibilities. As now, I'm an IT advisor and account manager. And in 2016, I was certified as an information security manager, which is a credential for individuals who help build and manage enterprise information security programs. So let's get to today's presentation and learn more about the cyber threats. As you can see from this extensive list, there's a wide range of cyber threats to your business productivity and data. But there's really one type of attack that is the cause of 9 out of 10 data breaches, and that's phishing. We'll be using this graphic throughout the presentation to illustrate the phishing threat vector and the risk we aim to eliminate. A phishing attack comes in through email, gets past your PC's antivirus software, and finally past your staff. After that, data can be stolen, the PC can start behaving poorly, or even worse, as Nancy mentioned, all your systems can be locked up with ransomware. So we've bundled 3 services to effectively protect against this threat, and we'll get into them right now. The first thing we can do is detect the threats that are coming in through email. Our email threat detection service includes several key features. It starts with cloud-based spam and virus filtering. The good news here is there's no appliance or software to install. Our service will scan for and eliminate threats before they even make it into your inbox. Another trick hackers will use is to send email to your staff that looks like it's an internal email. So impersonation protection here is going to protect against threat actors attempting to do this. Link protection is my favorite. Real-time analysis of clicked links to warn you if they're suspicious. And if they're known to be harmful, you're blocked from even accessing the bad website. Finally, a daily held mail report. This shows spam that was quarantined for you, and more importantly, lets you know the service is working. If you see something that shouldn't have been held up, you can click a link in the email to release it onto your inbox. Here's a screenshot of that held mail report. As you can see, you can view contents online before you release it. Or if you're expecting that email and you trust the sender, you can release that link right there by clicking the release button. So to summarize, this service eliminates spam and gives your staff back at least 10 minutes a day that they would have spent wasted time dealing with it. I mean, that alone can pay for the service. It includes antivirus protection to remove threats from attachments before they even reach you. Impersonation and link protection are included to protect staff from phishing attacks. And the held mail report lets you know the service is working, and you can manage held items directly from the report. So we've taken care of email with our threat detection service, but that still leaves two more points to consider: the PC and the person. So on to your PCs and your servers. Patching is one of the most basic tenets of IT security. While it may seem like a no-brainer, I cannot stress enough how important it is to always keep your devices as up-to-date as possible. New vulnerabilities are being continuously found, and for the most part, the only way to stay secure is to do everything you can to ensure that these vulnerabilities are remediated as quickly as possible. These practices apply not only to your server operating systems, but also to any PCs and network equipment. Now, one of the most prevalent things we see when performing an IT health check for a new client is a complete breakdown of the patch management lifecycle. With very few exceptions, their existing networks fail the security patch portion. There can be several reasons for this. First, the client has only recently grown to a size where they are looking for IT professionals to manage their systems. Next, maybe their previous provider was not mature enough to have a proper patch management cycle in place. And finally, sometimes uptime is a huge concern, and to patch a server, you have to restart it. And when that server can't be restarted, because it always needs to be running, those patches are not going to get applied. In this case, the infrastructure is not designed for the high availability that it genuinely needs. Whatever the case, not having patching done in a timely fashion is a significant breakdown in a company's security posture. Patching is such a universally recognized good thing. Every information security framework recommends it. Why? Well, every hardware and software provider routinely releases updates. These patches can be considered a vaccine. Once patched, you don't have to worry about those vulnerabilities any longer. It's easy to turn on automatic patching of your PCs and say you're done. But how do you know it's working 1 to 6 months from now? Will you find out when you're hacked? At BMT, we have the tools and staff dedicated to cost-effectively perform the process, and we'll provide the reporting you need to ensure the process is happening. Which brings us to the last point. Ensuring the patching is happening is ultimately management's responsibility. So reporting is key for management to effectively govern. So this brings us to the protect portion of our CyberPoint service. We provide a managed endpoint protection agent that will be installed on every PC and server. It includes antivirus and patch management software. For the antivirus and malware client, we use Bitdefender, which is well regarded in the industry. This protects PCs from threats as staff browse the internet or receive files from secure file sharing services that bypass email. We automate patch management of Microsoft updates and updates to the Bitdefender software. It also includes 24/7 cloud-based monitoring of equipment for hardware errors and warnings of low disk space. This allows us to catch system problems before they cause downtime. Monthly inventory and patch compliance reports show the service is working for you. And finally, remote control support software that's built in allows us to remote in and help with any issues that you might be having. So now we're detecting and removing threats through email. We're protecting the PCs with our endpoint management software. And that just leaves one more point to protect, and that is our staff. As we mentioned up top, 90% of breaches happen through phishing attacks. Because of this, smart companies adopt a formal education program to teach and reinforce what to be on the lookout for. And here are the components of a solid program. Baseline testing, so you can measure the progress later on. The training for all users is online, and staff can start and stop according to their schedule. They'll pick up right where they left off. Ongoing simulated phishing attacks. Now, these are done to keep the learned skills sharp. Integrate into the hiring process. Training needs to happen as soon as you start in an organization, not 1 to 11 months later at an annual business-wide cybersecurity presentation. Enterprise strength reporting lets you effectively manage the program through consequences and rewards. So let's take a closer look at these items. Ongoing phishing emails can be customized based on your environment and industry. When staff know to be on the lookout for phishing emails, they scrutinize their inbox much better than before. But what should they do if they spot something? Just ignore it, delete it? Are they forwarding it on to you now? Hey, what should I do with this email? That's a time waster. So we include a Phish Alert button for their Outlook client. This allows staff to take action when they spot suspicious emails. One of two things happen when you click the Phish Alert button. If the email was a simulated test, they'll get a pop-up offering congratulations. Every time staff report a simulated phishing attack, they get a point in the reported column. If it wasn't a test, they'll get a pop-up thanking them for reporting the email. That email is then moved out of their inbox and put into deleted items. So if they made a mistake, they can always get it back. But the emails also then forwarded to our spam filtering service, so they can be used to help improve the protection algorithms. And here's what I feel is the most effective part of the service. If you click on a simulated phishing attack, your web browser opens full screen to this page. And yes, I'll admit it's happened to me. I gave a talk at a conference, and the next day, I got an email with a LinkedIn request. The thumbnail picture looked like someone I met at the conference. So I clicked on the link to review their profile. I was so embarrassed to see this page. I can assure you, I no longer click on any link without scrutinizing it first. And that is what will happen with your staff. If they've forgotten the online training they took several months ago, this will be an important reminder to stay sharp. Now, tracking results are key in any program. If, after repeated training, someone keeps clicking on links they shouldn't, they're really putting everyone's livelihood at risk. These people need additional training and may ultimately need to leave the organization. Don't wait for a bout of ransomware to take corrective action. We work with some companies that provide a lunch voucher or a parking space for the employee that reports the most simulated phishing attacks that month. This can be a positive way to foster cybersecurity awareness in your business, which is ultimately going to keep everyone safe. As you can see, the sooner you start, the better. It's going to take time to change bad habits. And we always hear this with people that we talk to cybersecurity about. They say, oh, they staff forward stuff to me. Nobody clicks on anything they don't. We set up the service and boom, at least 40% of their staff are clicking on links they shouldn't. So you'd be surprised. You're not as safe as you may think you are. So to sum it up, the education portion of our CyberPoint service includes a full service security awareness platform. It starts with initial training for all staff, new staff when they join the company, ongoing phishing tests, and a Phish Alert button keeps staff skills sharp, and reporting lets you see how your organization is doing and helps you focus on staff that need your attention. So here we are at the end result with our 3 services: detect, protect, and educate, all keeping the business safe. That concludes the presentation. So I want to thank everyone, which brings us to our Q&A portion.
Okay. Looks like we have 2, 3. Okay. So first question. My company only has 10 people. Are we really a target?
Yeah, I hear this a lot. You may be thinking, who's going to hack into our small business? I mean, we just have a brochure as a web page, basically. We're so under the radar. So the fact of the matter is they're not necessarily looking for your business, right? They're sending emails to as many people as they can and waiting for someone to click on their link. Once they get in, then they do some reconnaissance to see how valuable a target of you are. Like any business, they set their fees based on how big you are. So they're not necessarily looking for you, they're looking for everyone and anyone who will click on a link.
Absolutely. I was told if I just pay the ransom that I'll be unencrypted. Is that the case?
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting. You know, you'll most likely get decrypted. The hackers, like other businesses, care about their reputation. If word gets out that, well, I paid this ransom and our data was still locked up, you know, word would quickly get around that don't pay the ransom. It's not even worth it. But the problem here is you can't be sure that they haven't left behind software to steal data or to go ahead and encrypt everything again 6 months down the line. You know, to know that your systems are not compromised any longer, you'll need to restore them prior to the attack, or worst case, reinstall from scratch and restore your data. And as I mentioned that, I also want to point out that, you know, ransomware in the past, they used to just encrypt the server, and then they got smart because people had backups and they would restore. So now they go and they look to encrypt the backups too. So actually, that's a few months old now too. What they've actually started doing now is they take time and they go about getting their agent on as much of your equipment as possible, so that one night they flip the switch and everything starts encrypting. You come in and you don't, your PCs can't even browse the internet. They don't even start up. They don't work. They don't work as they're supposed to. You know, they leave one PC that works, that has a big note on it telling you, you know, how much Bitcoin you got to get and where to send it to have everything unencrypted. So the tactics have really changed, and they're really debilitating.
Yeah, and if I may, if I'm not mistaken, what'll happen is they'll lay dormant on your network, and now they know you'll already pay the ransomware fee, so then they'll just wait a couple months and ask for it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then we have two more questions.
Great.
Will the Phish Alert email indicator show up on the reports of the repeat offenders?
Yeah, that's right. If I go back a couple slides, get to that screen where we show the report, and it does. It shows basically who has clicked on a link in an email, who's replied to an email that was a phishing attempt, who's opened an attachment, who has further enabled macros in that attachment, and finally, who may have clicked on a link, been brought to a website, and put data into a form. You know, and that's really what the hackers are looking for. They're looking to get your username and password. So the people that put data into forms here are really need some repeat training.
They're susceptible.
Yeah.
And then, what do you use on the back end for RMM and for phishing protection?
Okay. For RMM, we are using Ninja is the agent we like to use there. And the phishing protection program is through KnowBe4.
Right. Are there any additional questions? All right, so please expect an email. We're going to have this recording live. Oh, sorry, another. Do you have any tools for breach detection?
Yeah, actually, we do. That's something that I'd be happy to speak with you about. Probably a little out of the realm of this webinar, but be happy to talk with you offline about that.
Yeah. All right, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you found great value in this. We're going to be sending this recording from the webinar to all attendees, so you have it as a reference point. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to Stu or I or your account executive. Happy to help.